I'm back. This week, I'm trying really hard to not fall into a creative block. I'm not gonna lie, this was probably like the hardest semester for me so far. I really do not know why. I think I'm having a tad bit of senioritis. I dropped that word off in high school, but then I'm like, oh wait, I am a senior right now. And I just feel like when I started the semester, I was not feeling it from the first day. I had an emotional mental breakdown the first day of classes this semester. Something about it really just did not sound pleasing to my soul. For my major, I need to be on campus. I'll say like 85% I have to be on campus so I can do studio classes. I really have a strong dislike towards studio classes. And you know, some people are like, just try it again. Maybe, you know, you just didn't like it the first time. You didn't like your teacher, you didn't like the class. Yeah, that could totally be the truth, but it's not even about the class that I don't like. Every time I start talking about school, I get like allergic. Excuse me. The part that I hate about studio classes is the amount of time and dedication that you have to put into these little projects that you don't necessarily want to do. They're there to build your like skills and everything, but like I put so much time and dedication into like color wheels when I could have been working on a new masterpiece. I'm not gonna say masterpiece because I feel like that's a little cocky, but somebody else might like that. Like they might like that motivation that college gives you when it comes to art, that always have to create something. I don't know. I'm done. I digress. You don't care. Why did I start this off like this?
We are so obsessed with taking photos of everything. Anyway, why do we feel the need to take photos?
Okay, so if you have no idea what a creative block is, you probably know what it is because you've probably heard of writer's block or something like that. Creative block is just basically for artists. You can't create. You have all this motivation, but for some reason, the ideas that are in your mind and like your hand that like creates is just not synced. It's not connected. You can be inspired while being in a creative block. For some reason, your hand and your brain just don't work together. That's why it sucks. I hate being in a creative block because I always feel like my creative blocks come when I have the most time on my hands. I have like so much time to waste, so much time that I could be painting or creating or whatever the case. I can't even use it because my brain does not want to work with my hand. Okay, so at this point we all know creative block sucks. Let me just give you some ideas about what you can do to prevent creative block, or if you're in creative block, get out of creative block, or make the most of the creative block that you're in. There are ways, so let me tell you. Okay, so let's have a little combo. I wrote it down in my handy dandy notebook. I can't believe I just said that. Sometimes I just think about like me, like why do I say the things that I say? Anyway, and I want to start off by saying, first of all, about this entire thing, all of these ideas are based on my experiences and what has helped me. Maybe one of these things can work for you. Starting with number one, and this is gonna sound so annoying, get outside and go for a walk. Seriously, because when you're sitting in front of a canvas or you're sitting in your house all day, indoor air is not outdoor air. You need to like refresh your brain a little bit. Go get some outdoor fresh air. By going outside, you're getting fresh air. You're kind of like rebooting your brain a little bit. And I feel like once you do that, it helps you get back into the zone if you were falling out of the zone, if you know what I mean. I used to do that when I was living on campus in my apartment or whatever. It didn't allow much light to come into my room, so I was basically working with not a lot of like pure fresh light, and it was really gloomy in my room and I really hated it. I forced myself all the time to get outside because if I didn't, I feel like I would be really sad. Get outside, whether your room gets a lot of light or it doesn't, you still need fresh air. Talk about school, just makes me like, this happened earlier in the video. Okay, so now the second thing that works for me is changing my scenery. If you're like at home, like this works for studying too. Like if you're at home and you're studying at your desk and you feel like you cannot study anymore, go to a coffee shop. Whether you buy coffee or not, go to a park outside, connect your laptop to your hotspot on your phone and you'll be good. And the same thing goes for your art. Now, if you want to like go to like a park and like sketch a little bit, awesome. If you want to go outside in your backyard and paint and bring your easel out there, go for it. Change your scenery in some way. And that works for painting, drawing, studying even, you know, moving on. Now, this one is going to be like, what? Watch an art documentary. Oh my gosh. Okay, now listen, I want to stay off social media or try to stay off social media when I'm like in a creative block, because watching other people like in the creative zone while I'm in a creative block just really gets on my nerves because it's not fair. When I'm on social media, it's not cool. But I need to find some way to like take art in, so I watch a documentary. My favorite one, I can't say my favorite because I only watched like a few. My favorite one right now is Black Art in the Absence of Light, and that is on HBO Max. It resonates with me me, just because black art is what I do. They have a lot of documentaries out there about art. They have a Netflix series and it's a documentary style called like Abstract or something, but it's on Netflix. Watch it. I'm sure you have Netflix. Watch it. I like listening to music that also gets me in the creative flow. You ever listen to a song and it like hits your soul? Find that song and then play a radio based on that song. Hopefully you get in the zone. Although I was recently in a art class and my professor asked me, he was like, Kirsten, do you listen to music when you're drawing? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, oh, yeah, I wouldn't recommend that because, you know, it distracts you. Lies. That works for him. But for me, listening to music fuels me in a way that I can't explain. And if I find the right song, it'll put me in a mood that makes me want to like create and it'll make me feel motivated. I don't need silence. Silence will drive me insane.
Really quick, here are some of the artists I like. I like Sam Henshaw, Aaron Taylor, Jordan Reiki, Amber Mark, Big Words, Emily King, and like any artist like that.
Side note, professors are going to give you advice all the time that you might not resonate with. They're not always right. They're people too. They make mistakes. Just don't take everything that professors say to heart. They're one person, art is subjective, and so is your art style and your process. Anyway, moving on. I urge you to keep painting, or keep creating, whatever type of art you do. I know in a creative block, it feels like whatever you're creating, whenever you try to paint, it's garbage. It doesn't matter. Just get the paintbrush to the canvas, or your pencil to the paper, or your hands on the pottery, something. Right now I'm in a creative block, like I said, so I'm painting the edges of my art. Maybe because I'm holding the paintbrush, I'll feel inspired to do something. Don't go on social media. Well, go on social media, but don't go on social media like looking for ideas. You will not find it. You will not find the idea. I hate to break it to you. You're gonna end up scrolling on Instagram for like an hour, and then you're gonna be more frustrated than when you started scrolling on Instagram. Not Pinterest. Pinterest aggravates me too, but I love Pinterest sometimes, but when I'm in a creative block, Pinterest needs to get the farthest away from me. It never wants to give me ideas when I'm in a creative block. When I'm out, so when I'm not in a creative block and I'm scrolling through Pinterest, it's all fine and dandy. When you're in a creative block, I would suggest don't even like try to look for ideas on social media. It's not, you're gonna be more frustrated than when you started. Here's some things to do while you're in a creative block. If you have nothing else to do, if you can't paint, what should you do then? Make the most of your creative block. If you're not creating right now, take that time. One of my first things that I would suggest is take pictures of everything and anything and everything and everything and anything. Take pictures. If you're out and about, take a photo. You never know what that could bring. I took some photos of myself and it ended up being my self-portrait. Take photos. So then you can go back to those photos and maybe make a new piece of artwork from it. The second thing that I would suggest is to observe anything and everything you possibly can. And don't just walk through the day, feel the day. This is gonna sound annoying. Feel the day. Look at everybody, look at people, look at people's body language. I mean, I do portraits, so that's what, you know, I look at. If you like doing nature, look and observe and just be in the moment and like look around you and take the time to like soak it in like a sponge. You know, you take those pictures and when you're ready to create again, you can take a lot of those ideas that you got from those things and then put it into your artwork. Hope that makes sense. Now the last thing that you can do, especially if you're like totally like you're done, you cannot do this, just give yourself a break. You might need a break. I know I said earlier like just paint, don't stop painting. You might need to, I mean obviously that's your decision. Don't stop being your creative person. Like I said, always like observe things, but maybe you do need to like take a break from like painting for a minute or creating or whatever. You can build up all of that creative inspiration that you gain on that break and then put it towards a new piece of artwork when you're ready to create again. So sometimes taking a break really does help. I remember last year this time when I was finishing off my semester, I was so excited. I was like, I am going to take all this time that we have on this break and I'm going to make all these art pieces and it's going to be fantastic. And then I got on break, I went on break, and then nothing. I actually recorded an entire YouTube video on it and I never posted it. My point is, you might need to take a break. Anyway, that's enough. I hope you got the advice and you liked the advice that I gave you. Thank you for watching this video. If you want to follow me on my socials and like listen to my podcast, you feel like you're introverted and you're okay with being introverted, or you want to be more extroverted, or you're a little socially anxious, you don't want to be but you're working on it, listen to my podcast. We have some conversations. It's a solo podcast. It's just me. I feel like I like that one-on-one engagement. It's just a chill conversation, not trying to teach you anything. We're just having conversations about experiences. But if you want to listen to my podcast, it's called Introverts Talk 2 and it's on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. The link to my link tree is going to be in the description and that's where all of my socials are. I'm done talking. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.